Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
So you'll pick me up tonight at 7:45?
Oh, well, no, I got a few things to take care of first, but why don't we make it 7:45?
Stop it.
Okay, 7:45.
Live from the basement of the YouTube headquarters, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and what does mom say? There are liars and damned liars, and then there's statistics. I don't know about the third part of that, but today we're talking about lies that financial gurus tell us. What are they? How do we see through the lies? We'll debate that on our Friday panel today. Plus, halfway through what's sure to be the best conversation you've heard since Wednesday, we'll pause briefly to see who's this week's champ in our year-long money trivia competition. And now a guy who believes your financial future is brighter than your phone screen at 2 a.m., it's Joe Saul-Sehy.
And you know, it's funny, Doug, I know how bright the phone screen is at 2 a.m. because I just got home from Greece, and they are 8 hours ahead. So it's like I am wide awake at 2 a.m. Like, hello.
It's like having a hangover. You can't sleep, and you're like, damn, I'm going to look at my phone. And even when you have the setting where it turns the brightness down a little bit, it's still just glaring.
What was that little Jerry Seinfeld piece where he's like, you're up late at night, and the only thing that's still awake is your thumb as you're flipping channels on the TV.
That's right.
The rest of your body's asleep. But we're not putting you to sleep on this, and we don't want you to sleep, by the way, on any of the topics we talk about today, because we're going to talk about financial gurus and one blogger who talks about the lies that financial gurus tell. So we have a packed house of phenomenal guests today. Let's meet our panel. Let's start with a woman who joins us from the great state of New York. Paula Pant is here. How are you?
I am great. And you know what? I think lie number one is that these guys have been traveling. Because Joe, as you just admitted to, you were in beautiful, beautiful Greece.
But if you remember, I told that to the YouTube audience, not the podcast audience. Oh, because everybody's like, what are you talking about?
This has been selective lies. Ninja.
Damn it, Paula. Now we got to start over.
We'll fix it in post. So what's going on, Paula? What did you do while I was gone for a whopping 18 days?
Oh, man, I am trying to make it through the heat wave in New York. It's, I think, about 100 degrees today. I've got my thermostat set literally to 80 degrees, and the air conditioner is chugging like it's running nonstop just to try to cool the apartment to 80.
I head to Detroit tomorrow. It's like 93 there. Doug, you're I think, in Detroit right now, aren't you?
I am. I'm just outside of Detroit. Yesterday, actually, the thermometer on my back porch got to 101. It was pretty rough. It's been pretty rough here, but we're getting through it. Took the dogs to the river today, let them get dunked a little bit. And
welcome to Stacking Benjamin's Weather on the 8s.
Weather and traffic.
And a guy who also has a heat wave in Rochester, New York, because I think it's probably what? Was it 16, 17, 18, 20 degrees there, Jesse? Like super hot.
20 degrees Celsius right now. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The snowbanks are shrinking for now. They might return soon. No, it's been really warm. It's been in the 90s for the last 2 or 3 days.
Man.
It's going to break tomorrow. We're going to get down into the 80s Fahrenheit tomorrow, no longer in Celsius. That would be too hot. But this has been chemistry on the 9s.
And the guy who is the 10 on this podcast from Chicago, Illinois, Doc G, aka Jordan Grumet, joins us. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm just staying cool here in our nice new air conditioning. We just mostly finished like a year-long remodel, and the air conditioner's actually working, so we're good.
And it's usually cool there on the lake in Chicago, but not today, I would imagine.
It is. In the summer, it's really nice. In the winter, or as it's like springtime, everyone's getting to the 70s and 80s, and we're still in the 60s. So, it is what it is.
Man, well, let's tell everybody what the mission is here today. This blogger, Christine Luken, wrote a piece called 4 Lies Money Gurus Tell You. Are these lies? And are money gurus spouting these all the time? We're going to talk about these lies. We're going to dig into all 4 of them that Christine talks about. I think we got a lot of meat here for the next hour, so sit back and relax. Before we get to this piece, we've got some sponsors that make sure we can keep on keeping on. You don't pay a penny for any of the goodness that Jesse, Doc G, and Paula bring to the show. So we're going to hear from them and Doug. We're going to hear from them. And then let's talk about 4 lies money gurus tell you. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy to use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. There are 4 here, so I thought a great format is we'll talk about 2, then we'll break for our year-long trivia competition, guys, and then we'll cover the last 2. This is the intro to the piece from Christine Luken. It's at christineluken.com. She's a financial dignity coach. You might be avoiding your financial issues because of the lies money gurus tell you, Christine writes. Maybe you think that rescuing your financial dignity is going to be the equivalent of crawling across broken glass rather than the amazing adventure that it is. Here are the 4 lies money gurus tell you and the real truth about rescuing your financial dignity once and for all. Paula, let's start with you. Here on lie number 1, you need a budget to make yourself behave with money. She says that is a LIE. Do you agree or disagree?
I am in total agreement. Total agreement. Now, I will say, do what works for you. If the advice is a budget can work for some people, sure, I would agree with that. But when the advice, which you so often hear, is phrased as everybody must need a budget, no, not everybody needs one. And in fact, I'm a big proponent of what I call the anti-budget, which is you pull your savings off the top first. And in this context, savings is anything that improves your net worth. It could be extra payments towards a debt above and beyond the minimum. It could be retirement contributions. It could be literal cash in a savings account. But any net worth improvement, you pull it off the top first, and then you spend freely with whatever.
I couldn't disagree with you more, Paula.
Ooh.
I agree with everything that you said, except when somebody is trying to crawl out, as she writes, and get some financial dignity. I'm thinking about somebody just starting out. I don't know. Jesse, do you agree that everybody to crawl out of the gutter needs a budget? Crawl out of the gutter. Oh my God. What am I talking about?
You need a budget to make yourself behave with money. That's the way the lie is phrased. You need a budget to make yourself behave with money. Yeah, I suppose that's a lie. But again, just directionally, again, if this is black and white, I think most people are better off in some form or fashion measuring their money. You can call it budgeting. You can call it anti-budgeting to some extent. You're doing something intentional to divert money, to measure your money in some way, and then react accordingly based on what you're measuring. So I'm not sure if she alludes in this explanation, the author alludes that she was doing financial coaching at a church. Oh, maybe she says this in line number 2. She was doing financial coaching at a church based on a course from a well-known money guru. I have a feeling I know who that money guru was.
Who would that be,
right? And I know that money guru does espouse budget. I think there is a lot of benefit to be had from budgeting. One side note, though, I don't know if I'm the only one. When I read this article, I'm given an ad that looks to be a permanent ad. It's for reprogramming your unconscious mind with hypnosis. And so again, if we're talking about gurus, to me, hypnosis, William Bernstein says people say guru because charlatan is too hard to spell. So anyway, I'm a little on edge right now when it comes to these lies. But the budgeting one.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that hypnosis won't help you reprogram your unconscious mind for financial abundance?
That I have questions, Joe. I'm just here to ask questions.
You are getting very rich.
Exactly.
I'm not sure that's how hypnosis works, but it looks good in the movies. Doc G, are you on board? So far, we've got Paula says, yeah, I think that's a lie. Jesse's like, yeah, kind of qualified to lie. Where do you come down?
I agree. You don't have to have a budget. In fact, for some people, not having a budget works really well. You know what I don't really like actually is some of the reasoning. She goes into like kind of the more prosperity view as of, if we're thinking budget, all of a sudden it feels scarcity. But then if we do it outside of a budget, maybe we're thinking more prosperity wise. I think it comes down to simplicity. I think some people like me are bad at budgets because I don't like complexity. And so I don't want to keep track of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different categories. For me, it's just easier to say, I'm going to spend this many thousands of dollars this month, put it in a bank account. And that's how I know how much money I have to spend. And I'm going to save this much. And it gets, whooshed off into my investing account. And I don't even see it. So for me, it's more of a simplicity. It's not about prosperity. I don't think there's anything wrong with budgeting. I don't think it's a negative thing. I don't think it's a scarcity thing. I just think when it comes to complexity versus simplicity, I always choose simplicity. And some people are going to do better with that.
I don't know. Here's where I come down on this. Doug, you worked in corporate America. Did you ever do that thing that productivity experts would have you do? They'd have everybody in your department write down what you did, like in 15-minute increments to see like where time might be bleeding through.
Yep.
Did you guys do that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you find that to be effective?
I hated every second of doing it, and I did find it effective.
Me too.
Wow.
100%.
Kicked and screamed, argued with it. I would just be the biggest pain in the ass in the room. I know that's difficult to believe. Bear with me. But then I finally just got on board and I look back on it and shoot.
Every time my boss at American Express brought one of those to me, I'm like, hell no. Right. No. And every time I was like, that is very insightful. That was very insightful. I think when we first start out, Paula, I think having a budget just for a little while so that you apply some science to this so that you can see where the cracks are. I agree with everything you said, but I think that's for somebody who already kind of knows where the holes are. Mm-hmm. But my problem was when I was bad with money, I just didn't understand how freaking big the leaks were. I thought when I just used my ATM card, like, oh, this is just a one-time thing. Then when I started keeping track, I found out the one-time thing was like a 25-time thing.
Yeah. I think we're both saying the same thing because I think of budgeting as something similar to like calorie counting. which is to do that long term is very, very difficult. I mean, to use measuring cups, to weigh and measure, to use like a little kitchen scale and measuring cups to weigh and measure every single gram of food that you eat. You can do it for a couple of days. You can do it for even a couple of weeks, but it's incredibly difficult unless you're a professional to do that year in and year out. Jesse's holding a banana. But Jesse, have you weighed that banana on a scale?
That's why I was holding it up here. I didn't, but maybe I should.
I can't tell. I feel like I want to disagree with you guys, but I can't really tell where you're landing, and I can't really tell. It's stated so succinctly by the author. You need a budget to make yourself behave with money. I read that and I hear an implication that you're not already good with money. And I think you guys are also ingrained in personal finance that you forget the time, except Joe. Joe's still right on the edge of being good with money and not
Someday.
good with money.
We all have a dream.
I don't think you remember when you guys really sucked with money. You need major behavioral changes. And I think to do that, it probably takes a good year or more, not a couple of weeks or a couple of months. I think it probably takes a year or more really trying to constrain yourself with something that looks like a budget before then you can do Paula's famous anti-budget, which is how I live right now, Paula. Like, I'm with you. I do the same thing. I kind of check in on it once a year, make sure I'm allocating proper things to investments and savings, and then I just spend whatever the hell I want to spend because I've automated all the rest of it. But when that wasn't the case, when I was just kind of getting smart with my money, I had to force myself to use a budget. So I don't think it's a lie the way the author has stated it. I think you do need to have that to change your behavior. Hot take.
2 thoughts for you, Doug. I mean, the curse of knowledge is what you kind of just described there, which is like once someone knows things, like Doc G might be familiar with this with med school stuff, is like once you know something and you're like an expert on it, you forget what it was like to not be an expert. And like that's a well-documented thing, the curse of knowledge. Then the second one is only a Sith deals in absolutes, right? But it's like to some extent, this lie, exactly. Right? Didn't we have a Star Wars trivia recently? This lie is an absolute. You need a budget to make yourself behave with money. Thinking back to this guru who this author is probably referring to, who deals in a lot of absolutes, in your defense, Doug, a lot of that guru's audience need absolutes to really provide these guardrails for them to get out of the financial trouble that they found themselves in. So there might be some efficacy there.
I think that brings up something big, Jesse, too, which is, when these people are talking to large audiences, you look at the size of Dave Ramsey's audience, Susie Orman's audience, Jim Cramer's audience, they'll speak in much more black and white terms because they have to, because they're talking to these huge numbers of people, where I feel like on our shows, we're able to kind of get into the gray area a little more. I mean, I actually enjoy being more in the gray area. Like, it's not an absolute all the time, but I do think that any money guru telling you when you first start off to get a budget, that's not bad advice. And the implication, the title to me, Jordan, is that, she's saying lies. I think it's a good thing to tell somebody who's not good with money. Why don't you do a budget for a while?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we can always find someone who doesn't fit in what the rest of us look like. But I agree. I think, again, you don't have to have a budget, but it's not a bad place to start.
Let's say hello to the stackers hanging out with us on YouTube as we make this show. We're here a day early. We were here on Tuesday, and we still had some cool people show up. Carlos here from North Carolina. Heavy is here from Minnesota. In fact, Minnesota's here twice. Mike is here from St. Paul. So we've got Minnesota in the house. Heavy says it was 110 degrees heat index in Minnesota.
But in Minnesota, they can take everything. Minnesota goes coldest to the cold and hottest to the hot, and they just smile.
And Heavy also, Jesse, echoes Doug saying you're a nerd.
That's coming from Heavy, who we know who Heavy is. I mean, that's quite the insult. Right? Mr. Video Games playing in the background. I see you, Chris.
which is why we love you more, Jesse. Exactly. Love the street cred. Let's go to lie number 2 on this list. You know what, Doc? We'll stick with you here. Lie number 2, follow this exact formula and get these results. She's saying gurus out there peddling exact formulas.
Oh, they are. And the reason why is because they have that formula all formulated for you. And for just $19.99, you can buy it from them. So I think this is very consumer oriented. I think anyone who's coming at you saying this is 100% the way to do it, and I'm the only one who can tell you how to do it, and this is exactly how you do it, they're selling you something. And we all know that people's lives are different. Their budgets are different. Their income is different. Their needs and spend is different. So it's really hard to encapsulate everyone in one specific plan. It's just too regimented.
I'm going to assume, Paul, that you agree. I can't see you disagreeing with that with that statement. So let me ask you the next thing, which is, how do you know, though? Because when somebody has either a podcast or a YouTube video or a book, and they're telling you this is how you get more successful, like, I feel like when I look at lie number 2, I then go read Ramit Sethi's book, which I think is really good, or Scott Trench's book, or Aaron Lowry's book, or some of the, great Joe Saul-Sehy's book. You can go, Doc G's book. You can go and look at these books and you can go, oh, I was told that they're lying to me. What's your kind of rubric to know that some guru's formula is sending me down the right path versus the wrong one?
I think I would have to echo what Jesse said about only a Sith deals in absolutes, even though I don't know what a Sith is. But I assume it's something bad. But I think that's the rubric, because if the statement is made as an absolute, and particularly if the warning is like, if you don't follow this, then like there will be hell to pay. It will be, you can't do X or Y or Z, or, I think that when that is presented as follow me or there will be consequences otherwise.
Oh,
I think that's sort of that's the major red flag.
You're focused on the my way or the highway aspect of that.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I think, and I like what they say in this article, where if advice is presented by peeling back the onion and taking a deeper look at the why and the motivation that's underpinning some of the behaviors, then it's likely to be more effective.
Jesse, you work at a financial planning office.
Yeah.
How do you get people to kind of peel back that onion so you know where to start?
Peel back the onion so I know where to start. I mean, I suppose having them just share all their financial details, income, expenses, and assets and debts and goals and timelines and blah, blah, blah,
Social
blah, blah,
security
blah.
numbers.
Exactly.
Mother's maiden name.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
What elementary school you went to?
All the security passwords, second cat's first name, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. Going back to what Doc G was saying, it's like there's the lie itself as it's presented, and then there's the explanation of this lie. And when I think of some of the quote unquote exact formulas out there, especially some that are espoused by some gurus, I think of things like the order of operations, or these proper ways to kind of save money, or maybe in retirement, the general rules of thumb about how to withdraw money and when to take Social Security, or like some of those questions. And I'm like, well, it's okay to have these general frameworks, these general rules of thumb with some explanation behind them to act as guideposts so people can kind of understand directionally what they ought to be doing. I don't see that as a problem per se. I mean, granted, I to your point though, are there some true gurus out there, some actual charlatans who are espousing a specific formula for $49.99 and promising the world with this? I'm sure there are. But there are other parts of personal finance and financial planning that are very much like, hey, this is well-trodden ground, and we know the best way to approach this problem. Here's the framework. Here are the steps you ought to take. And I think it's kind of good that we've gotten this far in personal finance.
I want to focus on what you said at the very beginning. I liked all of it, but I really want to focus on what you said at first, Jesse, because I think it's really important. I think a good advisor is somebody who asks you first what problem you're trying to solve. A bad financial advisor tells you, I have a solution to all your problems for $19.99, to use Jordan's thing. And Roger Whitney said this on the show several weeks ago now. He said, if an advisor leads with product, you need to run, right? If they lead with process, to your point, Jesse, here's the process we use. This is a framework. Here's the why. And here's why we might violate that for you because of the fact that you're different. I think that's a much, much, much better way to handle it. Jordan, any more thoughts on line number 2 here?
I think something I hear you, Joe, say all the time is you've got to kind of know the rules, when to know to break them. So the only positive thing I can say on the other side of this is what I think Jesse was pointing to is I think a lot of these rules and these stepped plans are really good for us to understand, and then we can decide whether they really fit our situation or not. So it's not that having a method is bad. And so to give a little credit to some of these quote unquote gurus, I mean, finding simple ways to help people organize their thoughts and plan for the future is a good thing. And I think we should pay attention to that. But then our big question should be, does that fit us? Does it fit our situation? And when does this not work for us? And then know when to break that rule.
Can I add to that? Because listening to you describe that, it makes me think of the metaphor of the cook versus the chef, right? A cook might follow a recipe exactly as written, whereas a chef would look at a variety of different recipes, figure out what some of the common underlying themes or trends or, what are they really trying to get at in the construction of this, and then riff on that to come up with something original. That's
fantastic. You're making me hungry. Well, luckily what I'm hungry for is trivia. How about that? We're halfway through
Great
today's show. That would be the worst freaking segue ever until I've been gone a couple of weeks. At the halfway point of every show, Stackers, we dive into this year-long trivia competition. And Paula, what are you holding up to the camera?
Oh, it's a box of cherries. It's a box. It's not exactly the same as a banana, but I mean, that's 3 out of the 5 of us are just sitting here with fruit. 2 out of the 5. 2 out of the 5. Oh my God.
I was about to say, I need to hold up like a piece of pizza or some chocolate or something. What's going on here?
Why does this happen on our show? Why? I can't figure it out.
How am I not supposed to make a joke about that? A box of cherries.
A box
Seriously?
of cherries?
You cannot do that to me.
A box of life is like a box of chocolates is
Yep. Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What, and Jesse holding up his banana?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You guys are killing me.
Wow. Doug is 12 years old. He is seriously 12 years old. We, at the halfway point of every show, we call a halt to the incredible discussion that we're having because we have this year-long trivia competition between our 3 frequent contributors, which include OG and Jordan, you're playing on behalf of OG today, which means, like last time you were here, dude, you have one job.
To lose. To lose, but I didn't do it last time, did I?
You did not do it last time. And Paula and Jesse. And Doug, you've got the score between Doc G / OG, all the G's, and Jesse and Paula. What is the score so far this year?
I do. At the moment, OG has a commanding lead with 8, and Jesse and Paula are trying. They are running neck and neck at 5.5 points. So 5.5 points.
And 2 of those points come down to Dr. Jordan Grumet, who just I don't know what happened that day. That was a dark day in Stacking Benjamin's history. But where there's a will, there's a way. Jordan, you can get back.
I promise I won't win again.
You can get back your mojo. But Doug, we need a question this week. What's going on today's date?
Hey there, Stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. And because it's hotter than beach sand in the afternoon and everyone's thinking about how fast they can run from their towel to the water, let's celebrate the one thing that made everyone get to the water's edge and say, nope. The movie Jaws was released 50 years ago last week and broke sales records across the world, bringing in tons of money for Steven Spielberg. Yes, audiences across the world went to the theater, their pants, and never visited the beach again. Not a joke. Beaches across the world lost tons of traffic, and all on account of a fake shark that barely worked enough to complete the film. So here's today's question marking this anniversary. Jaws was the first movie widely released on a format called LaserDisc. These LP-sized discs doubled the resolution of popular formats of the day like VHS and Betamax, and was also the first to include CD-quality digital audio and surround sound. While LaserDiscs didn't end up making nearly as many Benjamins as creators had hoped, it stayed around for, well, there's a question. What year did the last LaserDisc hit the North American market? I'll be back right after I go find a pen to rewind this cassette tape. Hey, Gen X, explain that one to all the young punks listening, would you?
All right. Jordan, you are up first.
I have no clue.
What was the last year a LaserDisc was released in the USA?
Last year, a LaserDisc. This is just for movies? I mean, last year, a LaserDisc was released in the USA.
Well, North America. I'm sorry.
North America. I'm going to say 2008.
2008.
And I have no reason. I have no reason for that.
Jesse, you think that's early or late?
I was born in 1990, and I don't think I've ever seen a LaserDisc.
There it is.
So I'm going to say 1990, and that's my reason why.
1990, because they were extinct to Jesse already. Have you seen a LaserDisc since, or you've never seen one? Still have never seen one?
I don't think I've ever seen one. I'll Google it after this and just see if I recognize what it looks like.
I think I read, Doug, there were 2 million people in the United States that had one. I believe in Japan, it had 10% of the population actually embraced that technology, just so they could make sure they had to get rid of all those before they went to CDs and DVDs and, you know, on to the next thing before streaming. But I think I knew, Doug, one person who owned a LaserDisc player. Did you know anybody?
I saw one once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at somebody's house. They had one, and I thought, well, that thing's huge.
Jordan, you ever see one?
I'm having trouble figuring out the difference between a LaserDisc player and a CD player.
A LaserDisc is like the size of an LP. Like, it was seriously huge.
Okay.
A CD is, you know, much, much, much smaller.
I'm vaguely remembering them, but I think Jesse's more right. I think it was probably gone by the 90s, but I'm vaguely remembering that.
Could you guys give some more context and hints to Paula before she guesses?
Are we going to get Paula's answer here? What the heck are we doing?
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
Oh, Paula, I guess that you should probably go too.
Well, okay. So in Doug's question, he mentioned that Jaws was released 50 years ago. So that would have been 1975.
That was the first one.
That was the first one. So if the first one was 1975, then the question is, how long would a given piece of what then was new technology, like what is the life cycle of a piece of technology from birth to death?
That kind of is what we're asking, Paula.
Yeah.
I think you
let's
summed it
listen
up.
to her as she talks herself out of getting the right answer. Go ahead.
Ask Joe how long his Microsoft Zune player lasted, and that'll give you an idea. Both of the ones that he owned.
Back in those days, tech didn't iterate as quickly as it does today. So I'm going to take the over and say 1991.
1991. All right, we got 2008, 1990, 1991. I love how the people in last like cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Take the under. Take the under on Doc.
Let's see. Let's see who's right. We're going to get to that in just a minute. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please. Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. FastGrowingTrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Doc G, you kicked this off with 2008. Jesse and Paula said nay. They think it was way earlier. What do you think? You feeling confident?
I don't know. I was feeling unconfident, and then I was looking at Doug's face, and he seems kind of bummed. So maybe I'm closer than I thought.
I don't know.
I see his poker face. Yeah.
Jesse, how are you feeling at 1990?
Not as good as I was before Paula's guess, but yeah.
So you think it's after 1990?
Well, I just think that half my probabilities just got cut off. You know,
that is true.
I've been bisected.
Yeah. Paula, what the hell? Why?
Like a shark, like a shark. It's like Jaws just cut me in half, you know?
Paula, how you feeling?
You know, I am maybe regretting a little bit. Maybe I should have just taken the average between the two, right? Maybe I should have just gone for like 2000 or something, you know, square. I mean, that's not the exact average, but somewhere in the middle.
Paula, 12 years of futility at this can't be wrong.
Why change your strategy?
Why turn over a new leaf today? Doug, who won this thing?
Oh, God. This whole answer is going to be so painful for me to do. I'll just grin and bear it here. Hey there, stackers. I'm home movie lover and guy who probably owes Blockbuster about $145 in rewind fees, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. It's the anniversary of the hit movie Jaws, which came out an incredible 50 years ago last week. One stat about the film, because the mechanical shark didn't work right, that forced Spielberg and company to create a better soundtrack and allusions to the shark without showing it until about an hour into the movie. Because you didn't actually see the shark, it actually made the film that much more frightening. Speaking of frightening, one thing LaserDisc owners feared was the death of their beloved machines. While collectors still dot the landscape, what year did the last LaserDisc hit the North American market? Well, the correct answer is Paramount's Bringing Out the Dead on October 3rd. Da-da. 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 I'm not going to tell you the actual year, but I will say Jesse was off by 10 years. Paula was off by 9 years.
This sucks so bad.
OG/Doc was off by just 8 years because the correct year was 2000. God
I'm going to throw up.
Why are we inviting this guy back?
I'm telling you, Doug's face said it all. That's the only reason. I thought I was totally off. And then Doug kept on, he kept shaking his head. He just kept on shaking his head.
If you're not with us on YouTube, you totally missed the best video of Doug's face.
I'm so pissed. I don't know. How hard is this? I don't know who to be madder at, Doc or Paula. Because Paula, seriously.
I can't believe I actually prefaced that by saying, I regret not choosing 2000.
Yeah, I know.
So do we.
If you had said, Doug, can I change my answer? I would have implored you to change your answer.
100%. We're hoping. Anyway. Well, that was fun. Let's rinse and get back to the piece, shall we? Doc G, congratulations, man.
Nice he's got to be sending me a gift, I think. Like I'm just handing this one to him.
By the way, it's 2000 for the U.S. and in Asia, where there was more penetration of the market, it was 2001. You guys are 12. I swear to God, 12 years
all
old.
the words you could have chosen.
It's wow. You can't say anything without just the. All right. Let's see if we can derail this conversation with two more lies from Christine Luken's piece. Lie number 3, exercise your willpower to save money and get out of debt. Jesse, we haven't started with you with one of these lies yet. So let's have you take this one. Is this a lie? Exercise your willpower to save money and get out of debt?
I'm not sure how that's a lie, to be honest with you, because I think in order to make decisions good or bad in life, you need some willpower to get off the couch and do stuff. I just see the truth. The truth in opposition to this lie is to utilize the power of emotion and habit to easily save money and pay off debt.
Which sure sounds like willpower.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like exactly.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a little bit of semantics, a little bit of wordplay. Like, don't use willpower, just use emotion and habit.
Right.
I don't know. So this is a lie. I can't. I think this lie is a lie.
It also directly contradicts lie number 1, which is don't use budgets, which all that is a tool to build habits.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So this one did throw me for a bit of a loop.
I don't know, though. It's funny, Jesse. I do think that this is a lie. I do think it's a lie. Paula, what do you think?
I think the waterfall is number 1, automation, number 2, habits, and then number 3, willpower. So first, automate anything you can. And then if you can't automate something, try to form a habit or a system around it. And if it's something that you can't form a habit or a system around, then willpower is what's required. And sometimes willpower is what gets you from step 3 to, kind of up the waterfall. I guess that's where the waterfall analogy falls short. Nothing moves up a waterfall. But yeah.
Hey, we've had lots of great analogies that didn't work so far today. So just throw another one on the fire.
All right. Throwing waterfall on the fire.
Jesse, that was totally my thought too, is that like in the hierarchy of things, people that think, and this is what I thought I just got to have more willpower and be better with money. It wasn't until I developed systems and I realized the power of systems and not leaving it to willpower, because willpower was too easy to break. I mean, there were too many opportunities for me to go spend money. But once I set up systems, so I never had any money, it was way better. That was where I thought this was actually a lie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the explanations that you guys have provided. I'm just trying to sit here to myself and just try to understand how someone can get started on these kind of journeys that we're talking about here. Again, kind of going back to basics, going back to square one. We're talking to people right now who are just trying to get behind the 8 ball and kind of reorient their financial lives. And to think that willpower isn't going to play a role in that process. My just gut reaction is like, well, what do you mean? It has to play some role. You have to want to improve, and it's going to take a little bit of willpower to initially break your bad habits, for example. Well, that's going to take a little bit of willpower. So it's not necessarily that you guys are wrong with your explanations. It's just that this lie is written. I'm not fully in agreement that it's a lie.
It's funny. It's kind of the basis of David Bach's book, which is about people focus too much on willpower and not enough on systems. Doc G?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mistake we're making here is the author is saying, whether they're saying right out or not, is that gurus believe in absolutes and absolutes don't work. But then the author themselves is putting out a whole different opposite set of absolutes. I mean, the truth of the matter is it's both, right? You have to be able to budget and not budget. You have to be able to follow what other people do and not follow what other people do. I mean, you have to be able to do both. You need willpower, but then you also have to save yourself from having willpower all the time. I think that's where this article becomes what it's criticizing.
But this is the difficult part for me, is that I hear exactly what you're saying, Jordan, but I also think, I'm like, okay, if I'm sitting here listening to us talk about this, we say this all the time, right? We're like, well, that works for some people, doesn't work for other people. So, and then, you get to the end of the episode, you're like, what the hell do I do? Like, where do I go with this then? So Paula, if I got to know when it's an absolute, when it's not, like, again, how do I frame my starting point?
The author Gretchen Rubin, I think, has very good advice about this. She talks about how start with your personality, because some people are better at having absolutes and some people are better at living in kind of a world of moderation, right? So for example, some people, go back to the diet analogy, for some people, it works really well for them to just have a rule that says, I will never eat dessert or I will never eat chocolate. And that level of absolute is what allows them to stick to it, because if it was a sometimes maybe, then it would devolve. And there are other people for whom it's the opposite. There are some people who just their personality is, if it's an absolute, I'm going to rebel against it. So I think Gretchen's point is start with that self-knowledge of, are you the type of person who thrives with absolutes or who thrives with moderation and gray area? And then take it from there.
You're nodding your head, Jesse. You agree with that?
Well, a lot of what Paula was making sense, especially I was thinking about my own diet. And I was like, yeah, I certainly, it's just funny too, how different kind of like realms. So diet versus finances versus something else. I feel like in finances, I can thrive under moderation. I can be like, I know what the rules are, and I know that 90% of the time I'm supposed to do this. But yeah, 10% of the time I'll break that rule and I'll be fine for it. And I won't devolve into this bad slippery slope habit like Paula was saying. But on the diet side, I feel like if I don't have absolutes, then I devolve pretty quickly. Like I could be on a good diet for a week, and then it's like, whatever. Yeah, I'll just have some chips and salsa. I'll break my rule because I've had a good week. And next thing I know, like a day later, the whole bag is gone. That's just me. But it's just funny too, in one area, in one realm, I'm okay with moderation. And in the other one, I need some absolutes to really stay focused. But so I agree. I agree with Gretchen Rubin. That's
Gretchen Rubin, yeah.
Good thoughts.
It is funny though, when you talk about like, hey, I'm just going to have the chips and salsa or whatever. and it's the thing that goes directly against your diet. That is the thing that you crave at the end of the week because you did really well. You know what I mean? How ridiculous that is.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to break the thing that is working. Like if I could stop doing the thing that's working, that would be really, really great. We see results and then we undercut ourselves.
Yeah.
Lie number 4 on here, our last one, is cut up your credit cards to keep from overspending. Paula, what do you think?
I disagree with the author. I think that if a person has a difficult time with managing their spending, then getting rid of credit cards, or at a minimum, sticking them you don't necessarily have to cut it up, but stick it in a jar of peanut butter, stick it in a block of ice, give it to a friend to hold on to.
Disgusting.
You're creating friction around your ability to use it.
You're like, Paula, that's your 8th peanut butter and jelly sandwich of the day.
So that way, if there's truly, truly an emergency, you can still get to it, but it has to really be an emergency.
It would take you like 20 minutes to clean the peanut butter off of that, to buy that lipstick on Amazon.
Oh, come on. It would take Doug 4 minutes. It would take you 4 minutes, Doug.
If it were crunchy, I love crunchy peanut butter.
I'm going to stick it in the crunchy one. Yeah. The diet goes to hell, but hey, the credit card's safe.
It's all protein.
For 4 minutes.
Use it to buy more peanut butter.
Doc G, cut up the credit cards. Is that a good prescription?
I can go either way on this. I don't think you have to get rid of the credit cards, but I guess, again, you need to know yourself. And so if having credit cards around is something that's going to tempt you to no end and you're going to spend more, then you got to get rid of them. On the other hand, if you can manage it, credit card points, travel stuff, all the good things credit cards can do for you, and you can still budget and plan and be wise. Just depends who you are.
But those points, Jesse, are what get new people to credit cards into trouble quicker.
Yeah, I mean, on net, we've probably talked about this here before, but the only reason why some of us are able to benefit from the credit card points game is because there are other people on the other side who are losing the credit card game terribly, and they're in debt, right? Their debt payment, their debt service to the credit card company is what funds our points.
Yay.
So there's definitely some losers to the game. Do you disagree? I mean, you guys were American Express guys. Am I wrong on that?
No, not at all.
Yeah. What were your thoughts, Doug? I could hear your voice.
I was saying
back
there. Yay. Like, I'm glad those saps are out there. Absolutely. Keep sucking, America.
You heard it here first.
Doug's like, why aren't we lying to people? Every meeting we have, he's like, we need to lie so that we can keep ahead of somebody.
I did like the truth here in lie number 4 because it kind of resonated with me. The payment method is rarely the problem. I was thinking about that, and I'm trying to think to myself, like, well, one of the problems with credit cards is just the access to easy credit, right? Or it's almost like in investing, it's like the access to easy leverage, or like in the whole sports gambling thing, like here's some free money, go bet. The access to easy anything can be a problem. But then I'm like, okay, so if this person gets rid of credit cards, do they still have a way to do like buy now, pay later? Because that's the same thing. It's access to easy credit. Even if you remove credit cards, I think some people would still have a spending issue that they would need to somehow resolve. But you are taking away one of those avenues to easy credit, which probably on net is going to help a lot of people.
In fact, to support the notion that the payment method is rarely the problem, or maybe it's the opposite, but FICO just announced they're going to be incorporating BNPL data into their credit score algorithm.
Wow.
So it's the same thing. Really, when you think about it, it's just another name for credit. They absolutely should.
Sure.
Totally.
It's 100% credit. I mean, Klarna equals credit. Affirm equals credit. I'm glad you talked about this piece, Jesse, again, because right below what you read, listen to what she says. I do have some clients who know they can't trust themselves with a credit card, so they choose not to have one, which is kind of where I come down. You should choose not to have one. So cutting it up, I think, is a great idea. But then she says, I recommend that if my clients do decide they can handle a credit card responsibly, they keep one card with a reasonably low limit and pay it off in full monthly. Okay, Jordan, isn't this pretty much the same thing as cut up your credit cards? I mean, isn't she really saying?
Yes. I mean, I had the problem with this. I don't know if the point actually holds on number 4. I think she's kind of speaking out of both sides of her mouth. And the reason why is because there's really not an argument to be made. I mean, again, we're talking about nuance. Really, people are different. And so it's hard to give one specific rule that fits everybody well.
Yeah, it's funny. So on point with all 4 of these, Paula, where do you come down? Are these generally lies or are they not lies? Are these lies you're seeing a bunch of money gurus telling you?
Lies is a strong word. Number one, the word lie implies intent. It implies the intent to mislead. I think what these truly are statements that are often phrased as absolutes, but that actually, when you unpack them, are statements that ought to be presented in a more nuanced manner.
They're good discussion starters, right? They're just good discussion starters.
Yeah,
absolutely.
My first instinct was, this is a great clickbait title.
100%.
Right? I think if she threw a MFer in there too, it would have made it even better. Here are 4 lies that dirty MFing money gurus tell you. Sign me up, right? I'll read that article every day. No, I totally agree with what Paula said and what Doc G agreed with. Like, these are 4 pieces of general guidance that certainly apply to a large lot of people, but it's just like presenting them as absolutes. What this is a straw man, right? Presenting them as absolutes and then coming in and beating the piss out of these absolute rules. That is definition straw man arguing. It's still a fun conversation. I've had a blast today. Have you seen my banana? But the podcast audience they have no idea what's going on here on the video version. But anyway, it was a good article in terms of, just like Doc G said, great conversation starter.
Yeah, I thought that when I saw this, I was so angry when I read it. I'm like, this is a bunch of, oh wait, this is a roundtable. So good. Want to say a shout out to some more stackers hanging out with us. Rocky says, Dougie likes your new background. Apparently Rocky watches enough.
Stalk much, Rocky?
And Leonidas Annette is here from Pennsylvania hanging out. Glad you guys are here, and anybody else hanging out. Usually we are doing these on Wednesday afternoon around 4 p.m. Eastern time. Do the math on your time zone, and we'd love to have you. And tell friends that maybe need to get their financial house in order, that it's a fun way to chat on these episodes about how to have more money. And by the way, the chat doesn't end here. It also is on the channels that these fine contributors of ours have of their own. So let's find out what you guys got going on, because it's always fun. Paula, what's happening over at Afford Anything?
Oh, well, of course, every other episode-ish of Afford Anything, you join me, Joe.
Every other episode, asterisk.
Ish. Well, you're on most of our Tuesday episodes.
Yes.
So yeah, most Tuesdays, Joe joins me and we answer listener-submitted questions. Then on Fridays, we interview guests. Typically, on Fridays, we interview guests. And so Katie from Money with Katie joins us. She talks about just a wide variety of like personal finance ideas. Later, JL Collins is going to be joining us. We have an hour and a half, at least close to 2 hours conversation where we unpack the simple path to wealth.
Wow. JL Collins getting deep. That's weird.
That's strange.
That guy doesn't have any feelings about any of this stuff. Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's all at Afford Anything.
Yeah.
Jordan, what's happening at the Earn and Invest podcast?
So as always on Mondays, I do my 10 things episodes that can be 10 things about anything, but usually have something to do with the Thursday interview. I've got all sorts of Thursday interviews coming. I am interviewing Steve Eisman, who is played by Steve Carell in The Big Short. And so I'm looking forward to asking him all sorts of questions like, was Steve Carell a good representation of him? Yeah. So he was an investor and he shorted the real estate market. He was one of the big winners. But if you watch The Big Short, which I rewatched recently, you know, he really is more the ethical one who thinks like all sorts of horrible stuff is going on. And he's kind of taking the money, but it's almost a sugar pill because he feels really bad about it because he sees the system breaking down and hurting people. And so it's a really interesting character. I'm looking forward to talking to him personally about how much of that reflects who he is.
Can you also ask him his plans to bring the Detroit Red Wings out of irrelevance? Because I think he's also the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, isn't he,
That's
Joe?
Iser man, not Eyes man. I knew Doug was going there. I could see in his face, like, Eisman.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, whole different party. But that's fantastic. I remember the scene where he stood up at the shareholder meeting and he's just like questioning the dude, going, "You don't think these are going underwater?"
Yeah, that's what I want to ask him when I interview him. I'm like, did this actually happen? Were you actually standing there like questioning? Because it should be fun.
Was he in the scene where they interview the woman who works at the strip club?
Yes, that was him.
Yeah.
That was him interviewing the woman at the strip club.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Steve Carell. Yeah, for sure.
And they're asking all these different people. It was so crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it was a really fun movie.
That's it. Earn and invest. And last but not least, of course, Jesse has the incredible Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors podcast. What's going on at the PFLT podcast?
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I need a good word. I need a good acronym.
The
PFLT. Hey, listeners, there's a competition. I will send you a free t-shirt if you submit a winning acronym to me. There we go. You heard it here first. Stacking Benjamins. So recently, last week, released a cool Keeping Up with the Joneses episode featuring, I think it was 6 unique spending stories, and it's been really well received so far. So I might do more episodes like that.
Those were fun stories, by the way.
It was all because you had such good guests.
It's exactly.
That's what it was.
Exactly right. Next week is going to be a deep dive ode to Warren Buffett, where I kind of go into 8 individual kind of ideas of his that he just contributed so much wisdom to over the years, like circle of competence and margin of safety and some other investing ideas. And we do a deep dive there.
I love what all you guys do. It's just so fun to see like where your brains take you and the people that you talk to and the way that you interview them. And it's super fun to follow. So we will link to all those on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. But as always, Doug's got the last word on Friday. To end the week, Doug, what should be on our to-do list as our takeaways today?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from our Sith Lord Jesse. Don't fall victim to the laws of absolutes. There are no specific formulas that work for everyone. Understand and follow the general frameworks, and you'll be fine. Second, hopefully you heard the sage advice from Doc G. Make sure you know all the rules of the game so you know where you can cheat without getting caught. Just like he's cheated in the last 2 trivia sections he's been on.
That might not be the takeaway.
It was for me. Keep learning for me. But the big lesson, don't tell Joe's mom you're headed to the beach. She'll immediately begin lecturing you about appropriate sunscreen and appropriate bathing suits and how to prep a cooler full of gin and tonics. Well, she got 1 out of 3 of those, right? I was talking about the bathing suits. Thanks to Doc G for joining us today. You'll find his show, Earn and Invest, wherever you're listening to this podcast. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to finer podcasts. And finally, I'll slow things down a little bit here. Thanks to the Jesse Cramer for joining us today. His amazing podcast, Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors, is also available amazingly wherever you're listening to us today. You know what? I'm going to also make sure personally that this show is added to our show notes. You're completely welcome. Don't mention it. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamins Show. And finally, I'll slow things down a little bit here. Thanks to the Jesse Cramer for joining us today. His amazing podcast, Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors, is also available amazingly wherever you're listening to us today. You know what? I'm going to also make sure personally that this show is added to our show notes. You're completely welcome. Don't mention it.
Wow.
Woo.
You get all of that? I just really wanted to promo Jesse. I wanted to make sure that people got all the details so they could go listen to the Fult podcast.
That's the first submission. Not going to make it very far, Doug. I think you're eliminated in the first round of the bracket.
No, you got to put the I on the end of it. Fulty.
The Fulty podcast.
The Fulty podcast.